Westport here, and we're back with another edition of Just One Thing. That's where I go out in the community and talk with experienced growers about the one thing they think all new growers should know about. And I'm stoked for the person we have today. I've been watching videos on his channel for a while, and in particular on the subject we're going to talk about. So I'd like to introduce him to everybody. Please say hello, Mad Hatter Organics.
What's going on, everyone?
All right. Well, glad again. Thank you for making the time and coming to talk with us today. What was your just one thing going to be about?
Yeah, I just want to talk about AutoPots, I guess. And thank you for having me on the show once again. Yeah, I guess it all started from when I was like a beginner grower, you know, always messing up the overwatering and underwatering. And I just kind of needed a way out of that. And I was looking at these automated watering systems. I built this little, water pump in a reservoir and little sprinkler heads, and I set it on a timer and everything, and it worked, but it still wasn't the best option for me. And then I came across AutoPots, and I seen another buddy of mine growing with them, and he had one plant in a 4x4, and it was just massive. And I said, like, how, man? Like, how do you do this? And he's like, AutoPots. So I just I grabbed my first 4-gallon setup and went to town and haven't turned back. It's honestly been, oh man, it's being stress-free. I can go away for a week and not have to worry about it. Like you said, you know, go away on vacation, come back, your plants are wilted, dead, blah, blah. But yeah, you don't have to worry about that with AutoPots. It's a completely power-free automatic watering system that just uses gravity and capillary action. And yeah, it's an amazing system. I can't speak highly enough of it. You know, it's awesome. I'm able to go away camping, which I enjoy. So really all you need is a milk crate outside of your tent to hold the reservoir, and you can have the smallest kits, I believe, come with about a 12.5-gallon reservoir, and then you can get a 100-gallon reservoir if you really wanted to. But for the bigger setups, 100-pot setups. But yeah, just a small milk crate to raise that reservoir off the ground, and a tent. I mean, you don't even need a tent. You could just grow it in your room wherever you want. It doesn't take much. You don't really need too much mechanical ability. It's just a couple pairs of scissors, just cut a couple tubes, and yeah, away you go. You just connect all your hoses, connect your aqua valves into the trays, fill up your pots full of soil, and fill up your res with water. It's does everything. It's plant driven. The plant will uptake as much water as it needs when it needs it. It will drain the tray that the aqua valve sits in. It'll drain it down dry, and then as soon as it breaks a water surface tension, as soon as that little valve pops, it'll fill that tray back up. So it's kind of like a flood and drain setup, but much simpler with no electronics and simple. You can go 1 pot or 200 pots. If you have the reservoir to be able to supply all those pots, then you can go unlimited. But yeah, you just need the reservoir, really. Go from 12.5-gallon reservoir to 100-gallon reservoir. Yeah, so you have a tray. It's probably about 1 foot wide by 1.5 feet long and about 3 inches deep. And inside that tray, there's an aqua valve with a dual float system on it. So as soon as one float system pops down, the water will flood in through your 1/4 inch or 3/8 tubing. into the tray. And then as soon as that water gets to a certain point, that float will pop back up, blocking off the water and just shutting the water off. So there's no like flooding of the tray. And then so that water will sit in that tray about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And then your pot will sit inside of that tray. And in your pot, you'll have your media, whatever you prefer to use, cocoa, super soil, organic mix. You can go straight perlite, you can go straight hydrogen. You can do a hydroponic setup, or you can do a full soil setup. You can do whatever you want, but so that pot will sit inside that tray, and it will sit in about 3/4 to an inch away, and that all that moisture from the water will just slowly leach up your pot. And that capillary action is the pulling of the water all the way up to the top of the pot. A lot of us organic guys will say, it's not the best or whatever, but if you throw a mulch layer on the top, you can keep that top inch or two of your soil surface nice and moist still. If you don't have that mulch layer, you might be drying out that top surface where all your feeder roots are, and dry out your organic microorganisms and whatnot. But I find it beneficial to throw a mulch layer on it and keep everything just at the right moisture level all the time. You know how autoflowers, they always like to say, start in your final pot, plant your seed in the final pot. With autoflowers, throw your seed right in that pot, top water for about 2 weeks until that taproot hits the very bottom or somewhat close to the bottom where that moisture level is starting to pull up. Typically about 2 weeks top watering, and then after that you can turn your system on and let it ride. I do the same with transplanting clones out of solo cups or 1 gallon pots. I'll just throw the pot, transplant everything into it, wait about a week or so, top watering it. All those roots will work their way down. Then I turn the system on. So you only really have to worry about top watering, hand watering for about a week or two. Yeah, so me being organics, I like growing organics. I still do the bottle runs in a cocoa perlite mix. With my salt-based bottle nutrients, I just mix up a 5 gallon or 2 5-gallon pails. I'll dump them into the reservoir, mixed up with all nutrients, all the salt-based nutrients and everything. So everything will be sitting in the reservoir itself. Some people like to put in a small pond pump to circulate the water. It's not giving it oxygen, so it's not having that pH fluctuation, but it's just being able to circulate that water so the nutrients aren't falling out and just creating that layer on the bottom of your reservoir. For organics, I top dress, and it's important to get the moisture up to the top of that surface, and so the microbes can have something to eat and in return feed the plant. But I will do a heavy scratch into the top of the surface, breaking up a little bit of the feeder roots, but trying to just get right down into the feeder roots. And then I'll top dress everything, add that mulch layer back on, and at the same time I'll do a compost tea. I'll brew a compost tea up, and I'll make sure the system is turned off, and I will top feed that compost tea in, so that top surface will get moist and hopefully bring a little bit of that plant available nutrients, like the immediate nutrients, down into the feeder zone. And then so for about every 2 weeks, I'll add in a compost tea, just making sure that the surface is actually getting moist and being able to break down. Yeah, so I'm only giving it about a cup or two of water. It's not much at all. Maybe a liter. I don't know, what's that, a quarter of a gallon?
Close, yes. I know, right?
Yeah, common mistakes, and something that I've run into, and I've seen a lot of other guys run into it as well, is flooding your tent, accidentally hooking something up wrong, or what I did was I bumped my aqua valve off of the little peg that it has to sit into. I bumped it off and the float system got stuck open. It took my whole 12.5 gallon reservoir and just dumped it into my tent. Luckily, I had that 4-inch drip tray around the whole tent, so nothing got wrecked. But just be careful those bumping those aqua valves around, making sure that they're always sitting in the tray flat and stuck on that little peg that's inside the tray. It's just allowing me to have my free time back, not having to constantly worry if my plants are going to dry out or not. If you're a busy person and don't have the time to spend in the garden, get an AutoPot system. It's beneficial. Like I said before, I can't say anything bad about them.
Results speak.
Yep.
And results are what we're all after. So I'm excited to give this system a shot. And thank you for kind of breaking it down a little bit more for me today and for new growers. If you guys are interested more in this particular subject, he's got a couple awesome videos up on his channel. His channel on YouTube, Mad Hatter Organics. Again, these are going to be down in the show notes. And then find him on Instagram as well and give him a follow there. It's mad_hatter_organics. And that is where you can find this man, other than here. But hey, we will be back once again. I thank you for joining us on this episode of Just One Thing. So until next time, we'll catch you later.
Thanks, Chad.
Yep.